So I expect it to be very similar. Fnatic already getting last. This is a huge pick for them because Netathleta is such a confident player on it. However, G2 get Black Feather. This is a character that's very strong, and we saw throughout the last weekend being picked up repeatedly, especially as first pick. G2 gets it.
Yeah, and by them picking up the Black Feather, that basically means that Fnatic is not going to be taking Celeste. And so Fnatic then just ban the Celeste away. So it's almost a forced ban because you don't want to give the Celeste over without having that hard counter in the Black Feather. But now G2 can just flex that over into an Idris. So a very strong start to this draft for G2.
A comp that Fnatic could go for here is the Fox Fortress that we saw a lot of last weekend. Fnatic played it very well. Fortress goes Tenjibo Aftershock. Vox gets a heavy attack speed build so that they can apply the mortal wounds constantly, and that comp actually works fairly well against the CP Idris because you can dive on him constantly. So the fact that G2 doesn't have Lance either can help you because they don't have great peeling. G2, however, they still have multiple options with their captain characters. They have the Lyra, they have the Finn.
Yeah, and the other thing is G2 with the Black Feather, that's kind of going away from what we were just talking about is their core playstyle of having Dark Potato be on one of these more supportive type junglers. Like, this is a hero that is going to be a carry. It's going to be trying to jump in onto the backlines, but there isn't really a backline to jump onto from the side of Fnatic.
Yeah, this is very scary for me because Fnatic, this is a comp that you have to get ahead early on with Glaive with Petal. Petal Munias will get wrecked late game against the CP just because of his track ram is AoE and can kill them instantly. So they have to get ahead early in mid game. If they don't, it's going to be very scary for them, and that makes me worry for Fnatic because last weekend, they weren't able to do that constantly.
And I feel like that's kind of a classic story of this matchup, right? Because G2, when you think of this team, you think of the late game team fighting. That is their win condition. They've drafted towards that exact win condition. Are Fnatic going to be able to put the accelerator down enough to take control of this game?
They should be able to, because early on, Black Feather does not have a great clear speed, whereas Petal has an amazing clear speed. And if Palmatoro can constantly get into that jungle and just disrupt Black Feather, they can really make things happen.
All right. Well, it's just about time to get on into our first game. Let us know who you are supporting on Twitter using that hashtag Vainglory8. It's Fnatic going up against G2. It's the first series of week number 2 of the Vainglory 8. We want to know who you guys are cheering for at home. But it's time to get on into our first game. Pass it over to our casters and jump onto the Halcyon Fold.
There's no casters.
Yeah, just stay here for a second in case they throw back. There's no casters or overlay or anything.
Just clearing out the backs together, being that squad goals for Fnatic. But Netathleta's doing away a Treant, pretty strong for Fnatic, does give power over to Fnatic if they were to try and make any early moves.
Yeah, it really does. And one key note here is this. Hold on, that was
gonna cut you off. Hundo maybe in a bit of trouble here. Fantastic quibble comes through from Kiana Nakoa, slows everyone down, but is it enough? If another Impale connects from Netathleta, then it could be Trova Hundo. 1, 2, 3. Let's see if it goes out. It does connect. Rooted. Hundo falling. First blood to Palmatoro, and Fnatic going to walk away with it.
Yeah, and the point I was just getting ready to get into is this Petal, once she hits level 2, is such an aggressive hero, has so much chase potential, and they're actually going to pick up the Elder Treant there off the back of it as well, and now maybe even look for some of the jungle rotation out of G2's jungle. And you know, if a Petal gets ahead, she can be crazy to deal with through all parts of the game. Those minions stack up damage so quickly.
Yeah, no, certainly, and currently Fnatic in a fairly good spot. They got that first blood, they stole some jungle away. Almost was the triple synchronized backs, which just would have put them ahead as far as items were concerned across the board. It is just going to be Palmatoro, Netathleta returning back to their stations with some upgraded items for themselves. And this is where things can start to become scary for a Petal, like you mentioned. Fantastic snowballing ability. Dark Potato, really going to have to watch his toes.
Yeah, especially since at this point in the game, Hundor does not have enough crystal power to become that ranged hero. So as of right now, it is triple melee into Petal, and we know how well Petal handles those kind of situations. However, going into the late game, if Hundor is able to get to that hyper carry phase, there is a lot of potential for him to just take the monies off very early in the fight. But
Ooh, Dark Potato,
jungle.
look at him, rooted out, stunned against the wall. Yeah, Nakoa will move in, provides a bit of company for his team. It is just going to be Dark Potato walking away, but another Treant stolen here. Dark Potato once more put under pressure. Fnatic making some aggressive moves, clearing out vision, and keeping Hundor under his turret by pushing the lane in.
Yeah, and keep in mind, Fnatic was the #2 seed in the end of the last season, you know, falling just, I think it was a point shy of SK, coming down to the very last game. So obviously, Fnatic going to look to come into this season with that same kind of mentality. They want to be in the top. They actually don't want to fall behind SK this season, obviously, and they're going to be putting their best foot forward to do so. And, you know, with this composition they have, it's all about dominating the early and mid game and not letting Hundor get to that point where Crystal Idris is so difficult to deal with.
Yeah, no, it's going to be interesting to see that they're able to do so. Right now, they're putting the pressure onto Dark Potato in the jungle. He's going very low here. He's going to fall down. It's going to be another kill going in for Palmatoro. And where are G2? They're very pushed up the lane. Doesn't seem like Palmatoro or Netolet are currently interested in moving in just yet. We may see some aggression onto Kiana Nakoa. And JJ just holding his own into the turret.
Yeah, really interesting rotation there from G2 to try to push up the lane. I think if Kiana Nakoa would have rotated over to Dark Potato, got a polite company down, gave him that additional fortified health, we might have seen him make it out on a sliver there and not give another kill over to this Petal, who did acquire that first blood bounty as well as that second kill. Frostburn now online as the jungle shop has come together. Now Petal is going to have such an easier time chasing down those targets when she's able to get that slow multiple times during a fight.
Yep, it's going to be difficult, I think, for Kiana Nakoa to escape if he's under fire. I think the one thing that Black Feather has going for him is 3 movement spells. You know, he has the double rose offensive and the Faint of Heart, meaning that he can kind of negate Frostburn slows just a little bit. Very difficult to actually slow him down, but if he's fighting over camps like this, he could be in trouble. There's going to be a lot of damage going down onto him. Techno JJ roaming down as well. Fnatic looking like they want to take away the Crystal Sentry, but it's just too risky at this point. G2 very quick rotations.
Yeah, there's a lot of gold sitting in Techno JJ's pocket, as we've seen. He just rotated, bought that Sorrow Blade, as well as Netwillet picked up a Fountain for himself, which Kiana Nakoa does not have. So now this is going to be that Sentry, and will it be more?
Sentry defeated.
Last week, Fnatic set a competitive record by taking away the Crystal Sentry, completely eliminating it at just 8 minutes 9 seconds. Pretty impressive stuff. Right now, though, maybe overextensions. Netolet should be okay for now. The one thing that I think Fnatic have to be careful of here, and we kind of talked about draft earlier, Dominomine, is that Palmatoro on this Petal going to be having a lot of early game power, but as soon as Crystal Idris really is hitting some high damage stats, he's going to be stacking up very quickly and easily off Petal, bearing out those minions as well. Dark Potato onto Techno JJ. Almost looked like an execution may come through, but he didn't have that Faint of Heart available to pop those Heartthrob stacks.
Yeah, and one thing to make note of the Crystal Idris, actually, hold on, Dowsy, a lot of damage on
so
him.
much fighting going on. A double impale comes through, spontaneous combustions entering. Right now it's all just poke on Fnatic's side. They've got their Fountain ready. They got those healing flask available, at least on Palmatoro. Techno JJ and Netolet don't quite have them up. Dark Potato going to isolate Palmatoro. Netolet goes in. There's the Fountain. They've isolated Dark Potato, blown him up. And a Fountain late from Kiana Nakoa going to mean that he cannot survive. Now it's Kiana Nakoa slowed by Frostburn, easily taken out. Hundor last man standing, but a good Shimmer Strike will get him away. Now it's going to be Fnatic looking to invade.
Yeah, they definitely want to take away some of this jungle again. As far as you can get a Petal ahead, it's so much easier to really snowball the game as they're going to focus on this other Crystal Sentry. But for Hunter on this Idris, you touched on it a little bit earlier that, you know, as he gets later on into his build, he's going to stack up very quickly in the fights. And one thing to make note of is when he does get that Broken Myth online, which will likely be his 3rd item after the Alternating Current, those basic attacks because they do crystal damage, will also scale up with that broken myth. So not only will the chakrams hit like a truck, but those basic attacks, as you get that higher percentage of damage outcome, will start to function very similarly to a weapon carry with a breaking point. So those are things to make note of, but oh no, JJ gets out.
Yeah, just about escapes there. It's kind of the power of CP Idris that he's pretty much played like a weapon power laner. Just has those crystal power items. Lots of mobility as well. Andor pushing in the lane. Doesn't quite have that alternating current yet. Has a substantial amount of gold, but it's just poke. These turrets, very easy to take down in update 2.8 due to the fact that they have reduced health on them compared to previous updates. Means that teams can really look to hard push if a misrotation comes about. But right now, Fnatic once more invading. Dark Potato going very low. Crystal Sentry should just give him the aid he needs to escape here, but maybe Fnatic look to start it up again. Taking it down. Here comes Kiana Nakoa to scare them away. And JJ rotating as well. Fnatic may be caught out here. Andor, he's looking for Palmatoro. Fountain's gonna come out. Net to let on the front line. JJ moves on in. Impale misses from Net to let. Look at that. Chakram dancing, Palmatoro dead, and it's 1 kill for G2, moving for more. Techno JJ the target, looking to return fire, but he will go for the afterburn out, and that's gonna be the anchor toss from Kiana Nakoa, blocked on up by Net to let. So G2 starting up a gold miner, but it's in full vision. Fnatic not going to allow this to happen. They're moving in, looking to contest here, but how much they commit. Clay very good at stealing these away. Doesn't quite get the steal he wants. G2 going to move away with a huge amount of gold.
Yeah, it was actually a really good trampoline coming out of Palmatoro that got him over the wall, out of danger, but then they re-engaged, and that Crystal Idris just makes such short work of Petal. Those chakrams pass through all the Munions and Petal, and we saw those big damage spikes coming down. Petal does not have a whole lot of base health, so that is something also to make note of. But now, let's see, will we be looking for this final Crystal Sentry over here?
I think this is number 2.
Crystal Sentry
it is eliminated. I have not been keeping count to nominate. Thank God you're here to do that for me. Wow, pretty quick from Fnatic. It's clearly part of their game plan, as we saw last week, setting the record at 809. Not quite that, but still, pre-10. That's pretty good going. Now Fnatic on this pedal, gonna have a lot of free roam in the jungle.
Yeah, and they actually take down that first turret, and as mentioned earlier, they do have lower health in this patch. It's actually down to 3,000 from 4,000, so a pretty sizable amount as well. But to compensate that, the gold has been reduced as well. And now it is G2 looking to get a turret of their own.
Yeah, this is a mistake from Fnatic. The rotation from them, not quite timed well enough, and it is going to be the entirety of G2 walking away. Don't really want to be giving away that 600 gold back to your opponents. Gets things practically back towards even, when it could have been a lead starting to accumulate for Fnatic. They do still have that gold lead and the kill lead at this point. With no Crystal Sentry, like mentioned, they can move into the jungle like this and just continue to put the pressure onto Dark Potato. Also forcing G2 to group up, share experience between them, further setting behind Dark Potato. So Fnatic really trying to do their best to continue this pressure game that they have on G2.
Yeah, and that's really the point that they need to continue to make, is they need to win out this early and mid game, and giving up a turret off of a bad rotation is just not the way to do so, because that is going to get Hundor that much closer to a position where he can essentially single-handedly carry the fights, and it's actually a boots use out of Kiana Nakoa there to get out safely. But nothing's going to come of it from either team, Dowsy. So, again, we need to see the side of Fnatic, push their advantage while they have it, because Hundor is going to make it very difficult for Petal as the game goes on, and he's getting awfully close to that broken myth. He should have it in, about 250 gold here.
Yeah, that's really close. That's this wave here. Hundor should be able to back and pick it up straight away. Fnatic trying to take the gold miner off the map. As a response, it's going to be Kiana Nakoa taking a lot of damage. Great Impale comes on to Dark Potato, but they're focusing towards Kiana Nakoa, trying to take the Crocodile down. Dark Potato on top of Palmatoro. Spontaneous combustion keeping him alive. Now Hundor in trouble as he gets rooted up. Dark Potato trying to find a kill, but he cannot onto Palmatoro. It's an ace for Fnatic. 3-0 in that team fight. Gold miner going to go over to them. 7-1 in this game, and it seems like Fnatic have a strong lead.
It was actually a really good opportunity there for G2 to turn that around, but unfortunately Kiana Nakoa dropped so quickly on in that fight. He did have to fountain himself, and he didn't get any of that benefit really onto Idris or onto Blackfeather. And once the big river troll was down, it was a matter of Petal facing out Dark Potato in the jungle, while Techno JJ Netwillet took down Hundor in the lane. And, you know, that's a pretty big advantage now for the side of Fnatic as they were able to pick up a gold mine off the back map.
So I want to talk items with you, Denominate. We see Hundor picks up his Broken Myth, but talk to me about this Petal build that we see coming out. First item, Frostburn. Second item, Shatterglass. That's a lot of damage.
It is a lot of damage, however, it's not the ramping up damage that we know Petal can have once she gets that Broken Myth online.
Ooh, fantastic Crucible keeps Hundor alive. Looks like he should just be able to walk away. Palmatoro quibbled up. Another Crucible used by Fnatic to block the turret shot coming through. Fnatic just teasing us there, Denominate.
Yeah, definitely, you know, good opportunity for them. They got a lot of damage down on Hundor. It will force him back, but now it looks like we might be ready to set something up here in the jungle. Kiana Nakoa is coming over. Dowsy, will Fnatic turn around on this?
Thing is, they use their Crucible. Kiana Nakoa should know this. Force Accord could come out at any time. All depends on if G2 really want the fight or not. Crystal Infusion, Weapon Power Infusion on Techno JJ, on Palmatoro. It's a big fight breaking out. Look at that, spontaneous combustion in the middle of the moor. Techno JJ diving in, instantly meets his demise, and now Fnatic on the run. Here comes the Force to Call. Palmatoro will block it himself. Fnatic should be safe to walk away.
Yeah, I don't think either team can really take a whole lot off of this. The death timers are still very low, and with the wave in the situation it is, G2 can't even force down a turret. So overall, you know, yeah, Techno JJ did drop for his first death of the game, but there's nothing objective-wise that the side of G2 can capitalize off of it. They weren't able to get a turret. Petal and Lance were healthy enough that pushing into that Crystal Sentry really could have changed that fight very quickly with the additional slow and damage that Sentry is able to put out. Now Techno JJ is back on the map. He does have 3 items complete, the Poison Shiv, which is going to give him some additional sustain, as well as remove some of the healing that Kiana Nakoa can give to his teammates. And then he also has that Sorrow Blade and Tension Bow for the raw upfront burst and sustainable damage throughout the fight.
Yeah, the one thing he's missing is a strong amount of defense. Almost has that Aegis. In fact, he does now. Whoa, Impale comes through. It's 2-man. Now it's going to be G2 backing away. You have to be careful. Broken Myth stacking up. You can stack onto every part of Petal, whether it be the seeds, the Munions, or Petal herself. And that's kind of what makes CP Idris pretty good into Petal, because of those auto attacks doing CP damage. And maintain those stacks fairly easily. Currently sitting on 3 as he just dances around. But I have to be very careful here. Their supposed power, almost like it's being cashed in just due to one team fight. G2 hitting power spikes and using up as well in the middle of the map. It's all about this Kraken right now for both these teams. And it looks like G2 are feeling comfortable to march Fnatic back into their base. Of course, Fnatic do have a Crystal Sentry that they have to remember exists. You can't overextend at this point. There is a lack of armor on the side of Fnatic that Dark Potato possibly can abuse. Blind check from Net should be okay for now. G2 looking to push the wave.
Yeah, G2 actually in a really good spot right now, and I do want to make note that Hundor still has the healing flask in his pocket, and that proc is ready to go, and that amount of barrier and healing at level 12 in a late game fight can actually be very misleading. You know, if the side of Fnatic commits a little bit too hard and that 30% healing ends up coming through out of that item. However, that does mean he doesn't have additional defense or additional offense to his name, and he has committed into the tier 2 armor, so he likely will not have a block Dowsy. So it's going to come down to him using the Shroud Step and using the Shimmer Strike at just the right moments to make sure he's not getting locked up in any of these fights. Because obviously Lance with the Root and the Githian Wall, maybe even an Echo to Githian Wall at some point in this game, could really spell a lot of danger for Hundor on this Idris.
Yeah, we've already seen Kiana Nakoa using his Crucible to block up either an Impale or an Afterburn coming out of Fnatic. Purely just focusing his own reflex block onto Hundor. Here it comes, the afterburn. There's that Crucible. Hundor, though, in a lot of trouble. Gonna use that Shimmer Strike to reposition. Pops the healing plus. They're looking for the damage here. Fnatic moving on in. Fnatic losing their lives. Palmatoro's dead. A Quiver onto 2. Forced Accord will not connect, but it does not matter because Netolet's the last man standing. And Dark Potato gonna take him on down. A double kill for the Black Feather. And ace the G2. And a Kraken to be taken.
Yeah, 17.5 minutes in this game, Kraken is on the board, and it will be looking like Dark Potato coming to push this wave underneath the turret, and should actually have enough damage to take it. So that is going to be a big swing now over to G2, and again, I just don't think Fnatic did a good enough job in that early and mid game, pushing their advantage while they had it, and now it's a matter of, this could potentially be a game-winning push if G2 is able to find a kill or two with this Kraken as it pushes towards the turret.
Yeah, no, I think this is a massive turning point for G2. We already discussed that the turning point had already came for the team, but right now it's blindly obvious. It's going to be a turret defense game for Fnatic. Without that broken myth, you kind of touched on it but got cut off. Palmatoro has no ramp-up damage on this pedal. Techno JJ has no break to put him of his own. It's all about first for the team, and if G2 can weather that storm, first really going to mean nothing. This first turret almost down, going to lose its life in just a second. Hundor managing to get 4 broken myth stacks, make that 3 as it starts to expire. Is keeping them alive for now. We'll be up to 4 in just a second, and this Kraken's only at half HP. Fnatic have to make a move here, you think. There's an Impale onto 2. It's both the carry and the jungler, but they can't move in. Losing too much health from the chakrams, from the poke from G2, and the second turret goes down. Only one more stands in between G2 and a victory here. That Kraken has finally hit a health that G2 can't commit to. They're going to back out of the base. 2 turrets themselves, but it might not be over because Fnatic have popped the wall treads. They're looking to get into range. Frostburn to slow down Dark Potato. Does get tagged by the spontaneous combustion. Another trampoline forward. Impale missing though, and G2 should be out of it, you would think. Let's see what happens. Fnatic perhaps an overextension. Have to criticize them last week, making some desperation plays. Right now, they are going to back away knowing they can't, and talk to me about this. No Eve of Harvest, Frostburn. Hundor on Twitter making a big case for it last week during a discussion. Reckons it's the best 4th item on Idris.
It definitely can be. It does give you that additional utility in slowing the enemy down, and when you have a Finn on your team, that can be very, very useful in keeping yourself in a safe position, because obviously if you extend too far ahead of Finn, you lose out on the defensive capabilities that he's allowing your team to really sustain through those fights. That fortified health is so huge at this point in the game that it's really necessary. So if you're giving Keanu Nakoa any time at all to stay in a fight, giving Dark Potato just that little additional give to the enemy's movement speed to help keep him on target, as obviously we had some changes to Faint of Heart recently. It's really beneficial, at least with this composition, as well as gives additional damage over the Eve of Harvest. But this is a pretty difficult situation now, because Fnatic, if they lose out on one fight, there is easily enough damage from G2 that they can clean up a victory off of the push.
Alright, Netolet impaling over onto Hundor. Looking to escape here. That's going to be a good block coming up, and a Shimmer Strike to reposition him. Fnatic have to be careful now. Can they get onto Hundor, stop him from stacking? No, they can't. They can't get Dark Potato either. Looks like G2 will escape, but the Kraken she spawned. Will Fnatic pull the trigger? Is the question. There's a Scout Trap providing vision. There's a Crocodile providing vision as well as Keanu Nakoa moves around. G2 not quite able, Fnatic not quite able to find the kills and not really able to get anything off this. They're just having to backport and heal up.
Yeah, they ended up recalling to heal up, and it was really unfortunate for them because Hundor did drop so low in that fight before he was able to stack anything up, really. But they didn't get a kill, and now that's just going to lead to another fight. If they would have at least picked up Hundor, they probably could have made a push onto this Kraken, but unfortunately were unable to do so. A really good Atlas from Netolet did land on both Dark Potato and Hundor in that last fight, which really reduced the damage that G2 was able to put out, and that's why they were able to take an advantage. But, you're not always going to be in a situation versus a ranged and melee hero where you can get that double Atlas Palter down. But we'll just have to see how they can pick out this next fight. Good block.
Forced to call used and blocked. Fnatic know they can't fight because Hundor's already up to 3 stacks and they've already lost so much health. Look at that, once more, Net to Let down to half. They're having to force a fountain out to keep Net to Let in the fight. That's not good. Now G2, knowing that Net to Let's weak, needs to start up this Kraken. Techno JJ spotted out. Hundor just dancing around. Kraken to half HP. Fnatic, will they strike for the steal is the question. 3/4. It's getting close here. Here they come, looking for the steal. Fnatic, can they get it? No, they can't. It goes over to G2. And look at the health bar on Techno JJ going very low. Hundor trying to escape, finds the first kill. Looking for the second onto Palmatora as well. Palmatora tries to dance away, but he cannot. It's a double for Hundor. And Net to Let. Can he backport? He can, but he's only lands against 3 and a Kraken. Only a single Vainglory crystal turret standing in the way of G2 in game 1.
Yeah, and this should easily be a victory now going over to G2. All 3 members are alive. This Crystal Idris absolutely destroys objectives. And with the Kraken marching down the lane now, there's just really nothing that Netulette can do. The death timers are too long for Techno JJ and Palmatoro. And actually it will be Netulette dropping as well. That's now an ace, and there is absolutely nothing that Fnatic can do as we close out this game, Dowsing.
And incredible stuff from G2, showing their ability to scale into the late game, and once they hit that win condition, which is 4 damage or even 3 damage items on CP Idris, and getting that Black Feather to a tanky assassination point, able to strike and find the fights that they need to take game 1. G2 1-0 up against Fnatic.